Scouting Report is sponsored by Penn State Health, giving you the care you want, where you want it. Visit PennStateHealth.org to find a provider near you.
Welcome back to Nittany Game Week. We're on location in the Sportsbook at MOUNTARY Casino Resort in the Pocono Mountains. It's time for the Scouting Report. We got a bowl opponent, fellas, and it's the Arkansas Razorbacks, which we're going to dive into deeper as we get through the bowl season. What did you find out just kind of on the surface that you liked about Arkansas that you could look at, and then some other things you wanted to tell us about too?
We'll get into that more as we go and talk about some major improvements this year, what they mean, and some things where Penn State went backwards. We'll start with really with the red zone defense, Tom. If you look at the full screen, you'll see, Penn State made dramatic improvements. And you look at, they go from 12th in the Big Ten to 1st in the Big Ten in both categories.
There is nothing more frustrating for an offense, to get the whole way down there and just come away with 3.
I would never know, Tom, because when I was coaching, we scored a touchdown every time we got in the red zone. At least that's what I believe. What does that mean? If Penn State, had played red zone the same way they did last year, would have been an extra 6.5 more points for the opponent. So that's a big change. Just one area of the field takes away a touchdown each week.
That's huge. That's a big differential. As you know, if you look at the scores of the game too, if you start adding a touchdown to the opponents, things get a little different. Not only that, but how the game's played with that extra touchdown in their pocket too. It makes a big difference.
Let's talk about two things that Penn State went backwards a little bit. One, obviously, has been a big discussion, the run game. Went from 3.9 yards per carry to 3.1 this year. And what does that mean? If you took that, if Penn State had run the ball at the same rate they were a year ago, they've got an extra 27, 30 yards per game each week.
Well, I always say it the best defense ever being played is when you're just running the ball. You're standing over there drinking Gatorade and watch, hey, another first down, keep it going.
Yeah,
that's
okay. Something that they've got to look to improve as they go. And then the last thing we want to talk about specifically about Penn State and areas where they went back, which is time of possession. Went from 3rd in the Big Ten last year at 33 minutes in time of possession to 28, and now 13th in the Big Ten. So where does that time go? Well, part of it was the 3rd and 4th down conversions went backwards this year. If they kept on the same pace they were a year ago, they'd have an extra minute of time of possession and 10 fewer run plays per game, Tom. That runs a lot of clock. That adds about another 3 minutes. So if they maintained just the levels from a year ago, they're looking at 31, 32 minutes per game in time of possession. That's big.
Yeah, once again, I think you're going to come back right back where this whole thing started with the run game. You've got to improve the run game because all these stats will change if you're able to run the football.
Now, switching to Arkansas, just to give you guys a little bit of teaser, a little pulled pork sandwich, so to speak, of barbecue before we give you the whole slab of ribs as we go. Some names to look for. Bumper Pool, we mentioned a linebacker. DB Monteric Brown. Quarterback KJ Jefferson is someone to be very aware of. Only 3 interceptions all year, 6th in the country in passing efficiency. And the Arkansas O-line, a semifinalist for the Joe Moore Award, which goes to the best line in the country.
Yeah, that's a very experienced offensive line, too. They've got a lot of depth on that. That's one of the run game will be a concern in this bowl game for Penn State.
Well, see, we've seen a couple of those. And I'll make a note. Pulled pork and slab of ribs, I believe that is. So yes. Lunchtime coming up. I think we're already thinking about those types of things. And certainly one of the other things we want to discuss a little farther is the sports book here at MOUNTARY Casino Resort. Andrew Callista caught up to some people watching a Monday night football game to talk to them about how they're experiencing their college football Saturdays a little different.
It's a beautiful thing that we have this in America. It's a fabulous thing.
We all know that sports captivate Americans. That is why thousands of people flock to stadiums across the country. Sports betting is just as thrilling, and there's just a little bit more of a rush when you do it in person at the MOUNTARY Sportsbook. Since 2019, the MOUNTARY Casino Sportsbook has thrilled its customers and allowed them closer to the action.
The room is exciting. I think college football is passion and excitement-based game, and people who want to get involved, they want to be around people who are excited.
Absolutely. Weekends is packed here because they have all kinds of people here. Everybody loves all different teams, and it's exciting, and there's energy here.
Fanhood and rivalries run deep, and that's part of the vibe in the room.
Very, very comfortable to be here. And I love sports, on top of it all.
A little gamesmanship during the games, we'll give each other a little look. I do get a lot from Eagles, Giants, Washington fans. So it does create a fun, comfortable atmosphere.
Saturdays in the fall are big, just like in the Big Ten, and one of the more thrilling days this past year, the Penn State-Illinois 9 OT saga.
As the overtimes built, 1, 2, 3, 4, the amount of customers kept going up too. So you notice the first overtime, there was normal crowd. Second, 10, 20 more people waiting to see who's going to win the game, who's going to get the 2 yards and win the game.
As we all know, that was not a winning bet for Penn State fans. For Nittany Game Week, I'm Andrew Callista.
Our interview guest, it's John Urschel, former NFL offensive lineman and certified math genius. This guy has easily the smartest person to ever appear on Nittany Game Week. It's our Impact interview coming up next.